time. I don't know. Kansas with a huge win, Big 12. Huge win. Just what a great way to win a game. And a tough loss for Neil Brown at West Virginia.
Well, and he was on a hot seat anyway, and even if Kansas is way better, like Kansas could.
They are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about way better than we even think they are. Like, even if they wind up going 8-4 this year and really shocking the world, which I don't think is going to happen, but even if they're way better, losing to Kansas is not good for Neil Brown. Losing to anybody's not good.
Losing at home to Kansas.
No, that might look a lot better by the end of the year, for sure. But, I mean, it's not even like, you can chalk it up to Kansas is getting better. They certainly are. But you're at a point now where you're Neil Brown where it doesn't matter. Like, you just got to get wins, and you got to get wins where you can find them. And that was one of your best bets on your schedule, because I don't think that suddenly you turn around and everybody's like, well, no, they'll get the win over Baylor and they'll beat Oklahoma. And, I mean, like, where are the wins coming from? The most winnable game you would think on paper, at least, and it may not be the most winnable game in the Big 12 anymore. There might be some other teams that are worse than Kansas. That's very well possible. But, certainly that's one you circled and went, yeah, well, at least you probably can win that game. No, you didn't. So now what? I mean, now where are those wins coming from? Because you're in you've lost the backyard brawl now and your opener against Kansas. That's a tough start, and exactly how you didn't want to start if you were Neil Brown. But yeah, I mean, it was a tough back and forth game, went extras, and kudos to Lance Leipold and company. They got something going on right now.
Yeah, West Virginia has Towson this week, and they have Virginia Tech the week after.
Who knows what's going to happen
and
there?
Who knows, at Blacksburg and then at Austin. That's 2 back-to-back road games, tough places to play.
Iowa State beat a team that just has owned them, and then for a long time, but the last 6 years, they found a way despite it being 10-7. Kansas State, I wondered about this one. I thought Kansas State would win, but they drilled Missouri.
That's a great win. I want to go back to Iowa State. That's a great win, finally, for Matt Campbell and company. I just hate that they get that and they automatically turn around just even later that night, and it's now Campbell and Nebraska talk. I mean, that situation sucks, man. Like, we dealt with it with Matt Rule.
Yep.
So I know how bad it sucks. And I hate that for that fan base, because they love Matt Campbell and they want him to be there forever, but it's like every time they have even a moment of success or anybody else has an opening, it's like that's directly where the conversation goes. But yeah, that's a win they need to celebrate and really enjoy. As ugly as it was sure a hell of a lot better than the loss that they could have taken against Iowa. So yeah, that was a big win for them. I wanted to say that.
That's okay. No, at Kansas State, I think they're getting a lot of love right now, and they earned it. Hammering Missouri, 41-12. Deuce Vaughn, yet another 100 yards. Martinez a little bit better. Defense just kind of grinded up Missouri like they were a tree being split into sawdust.
Curious to see kind of where Missouri goes moving forward. Just don't know if they've got like the right era in place right now, and whether they start to kind of look around at maybe shaking some things up. But yeah, I mean, that was a rivalry game from back in the day. I guess not that far back, but yeah, certainly most recently in Big 12 days when Missouri was a part of it, Big 12 North. And those were two of the teams that really, when it wasn't Nebraska in the North, it was those two and a little splash of Colorado as well. But yeah, great win for K-State. Deuce Vaughn is, a guy that needs to be in all the national award conversations, I think. And they're just playing with a lot of confidence. And yeah, Chris Kleiman's doing a heck of a job. I mean, if you want to do power rankings and put them at 1, I think there's definitely an argument for that. Oklahoma would have something to say. Oak State would have something to say. But I think there's an argument definitely for K-State.
Oklahoma took care of business, but it took a little longer than most thought. Yeah. Beat up Kent State in the third quarter to win by 30. We're in such a beauty pageant mode, and we have been for the longest of times, really since all the shows and halftime and game days and all that. We really have gotten into a beauty pageant. You don't think Baylor would like to have won an ugly game 27-26 against Brigham Young, or A&M would like to have won an ugly game against App State? But we do put beauty pageants on it, but that's me.
What do you mean? Huh? What do you mean?
We want to put like we analyze wins.
Oklahoma?
No.
Okay.
We analyze teams and the scores, and if it was blowouts or how simple it was. And I think we overanalyze what teams do sometimes when they just win the game. No, I'm not saying Oklahoma's crude.
I think that I think you can only do that when you have like 9 games of this team is 9-1, but every game they win is a heart pounder that kind of
could be their style.
Yeah, it could be
how they play.
Like Baylor last year.
Like Baylor last year. Oklahoma State. 17-point second quarter, then they eventually just take care of Arizona State 34-17. At times it was a little bit dicey, but they took care of their business.
I mean, I'm glad for one, Oklahoma got off to a slow start, but I'm glad we'll see them, this week's Nebraska, and who the heck knows what Nebraska is going to be coming to the table with. They'll be in Lincoln, so that'll be interesting for Brent Venables and company. But yeah, their matchup with K-State here in a couple weeks will really say a lot about Oklahoma. But this Nebraska game will be interesting just because of the little wild cards from being on the road and what that crowd will probably be like, really wanting to rally hard for Mickey Joseph and just the different feel in that locker room for the Huskers. But yeah, I don't think we know quite enough about Oklahoma just yet. Oklahoma State stumbled here and there, but Spencer Sanders is having himself a heck of a year. He's going to be in line if he keeps playing this way for a lot of the award talk, and he's really leading them in a major way right now.
Texas Tech and Houston. Now, this thing has so many so many storylines. But to me, if you're Houston and you battled all the way back from down 14, 17-3, and you had the game and you were leading in overtime, it's 4th and 20. And what a conversion Texas Tech converted. I was like watching that play, and it made it look easy. I mean, they made that 4th and 20 look like it was like 4th and 3 or 3rd and 7. It was just so easy.
I wanted to throw up for Houston when I saw that play. That was ridiculous. All credit to Texas Tech, but that made me want to throw up. You gave up a 4th and freaking 20 at the end of the game like it was a 1st and 10.
Yeah.
I mean, it was... Yeah, man, I just felt sick for them. But give Tech a lot of credit. Was Donovan Smith really named Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week?
Yeah,
I don't know about that, guys.
He had big numbers, but at the same time, he threw 3 interceptions. One of them was deadly.
A bigger number than his touchdown number, passing wise.
His quarterback ranking was 34. He scored the game-winning touchdown on the run.
I mean, he's a very good player. Who still has a ways to go and definitely has some intangibles that you love. But I don't think that was Player of the Week honors, given the 3 interceptions and given the fact that some of their struggles were directly attributed to him. But, hey, maybe he was the best candidate. I didn't look over the entire list. I was just kind of surprised to see that when you throw 3 picks in a game. But it was a thrilling finish, and it was a big win, so kudos to Donovan Smith.
Nobody Baylor deserved Offensive Player of the Week. Texas, no. Oklahoma, yeah, Gabriel, 296 and 3 scores. Mims had a big game, 163 yards, but it's Kent State, so that goes into a factor. 2 touchdowns. Spencer Sanders, who was first week. Richardson, the running back, 131 and a touchdown in their win. Smith had big numbers. You see that 351, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he had a couple of just nearly deadly picks.
He's going to win them a bunch of games, though. They got good mojo going right now.
Deuce Vaughn, 146 and 2 scores, 145 and 2 scores. Iowa State, Brock had 100 yards. Kansas.
So maybe he was the best candidate.
Daniels had 355 and 3 touchdowns.
Did he also have 3 picks? Because that's what I'm hung up on. Is like that's just hard. You don't see that very often.
He had no picks, and he also ran for 85 yards in the win.
Okay, so I'm not just out here hating. I definitely have a point to be made on the Big 12 Player of the Week.
We're not trying to criticize Donovan Smith. We're trying to find out why he was the pick over the 3 or 4 others, and I think it's only fair. But he made the play to win the game, and they won the game.
Yes, I'm not hating at all. I was just surprised when I saw the stat line, and that was Player of the Week. But no, I've also just said kudos to him. He's a heck of a player. Does some things that are frustrating at times, but who's not going to at the quarterback spot, especially somebody who's not sitting there loaded with a ton of age and experience. I mean, he's still very much a young player who's growing and learning. And, so all the credit in the world to him. I was just surprised to see that particular honor, but he's going to win them some games.
And Duggan, big game against Tarleton, who they are supposed to blow out, and they did, with 390 passing, 5 touchdowns in the